Time and distance is a necessity that we have to reach today if we must be successful, because we need to understand that everything right now is geared between time and space. The reduction of space and ability to beat time becomes the unit of destiny. Welcome, viewer. I hope your eyes is focused and your ear is on the ground. I want you to be glued to your gadget. Whatever you are using to listen to me, you must be able not just to listen, but you must be able to partake of what the Lord has for you today. There is a lot in the potential room that we have to convert to kinetic energy for us to begin to maximize our potential and then begin to realize that our visions can actually be a reality. I want to ask a question. Is the reality real? This must be a question that is in the heart of many, that have even forced me to prepare a message that is captioned, "Has Christianity Failed You?" When you look at the thing that is happening around the world today, there's a lot of questions to be asked. Are the believers? Is the Bible actually failing? What is the relevance of scriptures? What is the relevance of Christianity in our then world today? That it looks as if that it is outside the Christian family, it is outside the believer's family, that people can become successful, especially when it has to do with the youth. It's a very strong question that we have to ask. Now, I want to remind you that Pentecostalism is not complete until it can be able to solve the need of the man on the street. It looks as if that we have put ourselves in a very tight position, and it looks as if that the Christian family has become a market that is empty and there are no goods and services involved in them any longer. But I have studied and I've brought up data that has helped me to bring this information to you as the Lord has given me utterance. The first I have discovered is that there is a paradigm shift, of course, in what we are trying to achieve. The sequence, the systems, the structures, the processes to achieving things right now has really changed. Before, in the 1990s, of course, and in the early 80s and 70s, late 70s, the moment you go to school and graduate, employment was as sure as death. What if you went outside to study, or you were been to someone who has studied from outside of the continent? You will have a cultural group that will be waiting for you at the airport to give you a rousing welcome. And immediately from there, they will be taken to the European quarters, where you have a barman, you have a gate man, you have a security guard yourself. Everything is at your beck and call. Why? Because you are a Bintu, or because you have graduated from a school outside the continent. Your value was there intact. Job was as sure as that. But we have seen today that graduate unemployment is something that is on the rise in our very dear country. And the question now is, what is the way out? Even the believers are beginning to soil their hands and begin to think about contra measures and austerity measures to be able to meet up to the demand and the specifications of what they have studied. And it seems that there is no response to those things that are happening, and the struggle is quite under high. Now the question is, what do we do? What are the processes? What are the ways which we can, of course, get it right in the right patterns, and then begin to be able to meet up to the demands of our destinies, demand of our personalities? And even some of those who have gotten into the place of marriage, they are struggling to keep up to date with what the family will eat. Remember, the other day, there is a book that says that a man that cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. Now, when you read that statement, what that means is that the man has the responsibility to make sure that the family is comfortable and comforted, in that the basic social amenities that will be needed in things of housing is being provided. But then when you look at the world today, there is a great problem. Why? Because times and season has changed. Let me give you an example. Back in the years of 1970s and 1980s, research has proven that our parents, they would not allow you to visit your boyfriend or someone you are in courtship with alone. And that's the intent for they are doing that to be able to keep the relationship in a safe side, where there are no complications and contradictions of the issues of pregnancy that could come out. But that's not obtainable today. I don't know how many single guys will want to have that kind of interaction with someone they are dating, having someone there bridging their privacy. Now today, even on your phone and the gadgets you use today, there are terms and agreements that you'll be of course agreeing for. license to have a complete access to the applications that have been made available, the software applications that have been made available to the phone, and they call it the privacy terms. Now you could now see that privacy is now what is, of course, of a high value, of a high necessity in our world today. It was not like that before. Before, when you are going to visit someone, you are going with a lot of people and all that. Today, you can also see that door-to-door evangelism are not as effective as they could be, because once someone just sitting at a very position in the media in front of a camera, and then within a split of a second, you will see what the person said in his or her room or in his or her particular place where the coverage was made, hitting the world at its very high speed, and before you know it, the word now that is hinting, when it is now accepted by the majority of the public, is a word called trended. You will begin to see that it begins to trend. Something you said here in Nigeria or somewhere in United States or United Kingdom, before you know it, at the click of the uploads, and you have an information that the upload is complete, you begin to see what you have said, in every part of the world. Why? Because there has been a gadget that has the ability to create in its global community, and it's not longer as effective as it used to be. Just about yesterday, I was thinking, could it be that it would get to a time where outreaches, evangelisms, and crusades will no longer hold so much water because of the effectiveness of the social media? Now, I don't want to get into the social media fully, but I'm trying to build a background for us to understand where we were few years back. Graduate unemployment was something that was strange to people. If you say you're a graduate and you're unemployed, you don't have a job, it's something that is strange to people. They didn't really understand what graduate unemployment was looking like, because we have a lot of job opportunities, and just few people who are able to take and grab those opportunities. But today we have a lot of SAN. What do I mean by SAN? SAN, Senior Applicant of Nigeria. You graduate from universities, and then you get into the dungeons, and of course you begin to see a microbiologist getting into the cells of weaving and fashion makings, and you begin to see someone who is a medical doctor who cannot get a job, get into different fields, and everybody is now looking for the key word, which is survival. Everybody wants to survive. Everybody wants to find a way that they could get better. And the problem that we are facing right now is that we are using a 1975, 1965, 1950s, and even 1980s model to begin to, equate to where we are today. What do I mean by that? The parents that we are under, who has the responsibility of bringing up in a certain way, their models and what made them successful 30 years back is not longer obtainable, or what we say is outdated. And our parents now, when they are telling you, a boy at the age of 13 say you are not yet up to age to have a phone, whereas in civilized countries you see a child of 5 years, a child of 7 years, being a guru on the system. And this mental and psychological advantage that they have over us will come to play in our lives at the later stage of our development. It seems to me that there is a bridge, there is a period of hiatus, which is a period of no deposition, where there is lapses in our fundamental upbringing from our various families, and until there is a need of a sensitization program, especially for our parents, to be able to bring us up to date. Now you can get into the AI. The AI does the design of the website for you, and it looks as if that we are such charge. Really, we are. You get into school now, right now. I mean, a graduate, you can see a graduate all over the street now that are not employed. It was something that was not obtainable before, because the system had less graduate. But now, graduate is no longer something that should be boasted about, or to be proud about. You even see first class materials on the street, and they are not able to get a job for themselves. Such a frustrating life could begin to cause the general public to have a rethink of where we are actually going to is the reality. Is it real? When someone is telling you this is the reality, you follow a procedure, you take these steps, you go to school, your primary school education, secondary school or the high school education, the tertiary school education. The moment you are coming out, you get into a work and then you begin to work, you are able to take care of your family. The permutations were absolutely correct in the 20s and 30s. But are they actually what is obtainable right now? Data has started revealing things on the contrary, that the permutations that held themselves high and solid yesterday could not longer hold today. That is a notable writer that said that things has fallen apart, that the center cannot actually hold, because the dispensation that we are in right now is fighting against three key things: the insurgence of time, how to beat space, and how to beat matter. Now you begin to see that a lot of things that we are doing right now, for example, you are having, in the olden days, you have the landlines. Before you make a call, as stressful as it is, you have to go to the NITEL office. That's what we call it here in Nigeria. You go to the NITEL office and then you have to queue, and then you have to wait for your time. They roll round the gadget, the cell phone gadget, and then the landline gadget to get your number, and then you wait and make your call. If you have a landline as at then, you are a chairman, you're a big shot. And there was nothing like it. The satellite dish was as big as what you can think of. But today you are beginning to see that technological advancement, initiatives of data collections and the beating of space has begun to take place and replace these big and cumbersome processes. Now, just with a little, even or with your phone watch, if you have your phone watch, you can even pick your calls and answer your calls without your phone gadgets. And these are things that are contradictory to the things and the formats we have learned. And except we begin to come to the place where we are able to understand that time and distance and matter are really being worked on, then we can find ourselves getting behind. That's why people will tell you, I graduated from school 2-3 years, I couldn't find what I can be able to do to be creative. Now let me give you this analysis. It's been proven beyond all human doubt that someone who went to apprenticeship for 7 years, you give the person 500,000, and someone who is graduating from school, you give the person 1.5 million. In 1 year and 6 months, the guy that has the 500,000 will begin to catch up with the guy that has the 1.5 million, and in 2 years, the guy that have that apprenticeship of 7 years with 500,000 is going to outdo the person that has 1.5 million. The reason is simply because of the discipline to continue. When we get into school, is it really okay? Let's call it academics, not really education, because there is a huge difference between academics and education. And people today are academians, but they are not educated. The word of education has to do with the discipline of starting to finish, but academics just has to do with the knowledge. Now, a lot of people have knowledge inside of them. If you get electrical engineering student, ask the person to wire your house. Make sure you get the fire service people around the corner, because you will soon be dialing their number. Why? Because there is no practicals in most of the schools today. They just know the theory, which is the knowledge part of it, but the wisdom, which is the application part of it, is eluding them. But someone who went to learn apprenticeship and of electrical engineering, and after 7 years can be able to do that job neatly. And the problem we are now facing is, which way do we go from the position where we are standing right now? Is the reality actually real? Is it real? How do you explain that a mechanical engineer student who just came out from school after 5 years cannot tighten a bolt? You open the bonnet of a car and ask the person to bring down the engine. The person can't do that. Many of them can't even change the engine oil of the vehicle, and yet they are mechanically inclined with a lot of certificates attached to them. When you are looking at the preparation, whereas in the olden days, in the 30 years backwards, 20 years backwards,
the practical aspect of it was giving, more upper hand. When you go to schools today, it's all about, in fact, you can even get to school from your first year and then you graduate without actually knowing what actually you did. There has been a lot of truncations in the speed of assimilation of the brain, and that is why you see today that the majority of our youth has gotten into different things to be able to meet up with the demands and the circumstances of life. And the pressure at home is that you have to meet up with your mates. It doesn't matter what you do, how you do, when you do, and where you do them. Now, this is a very big concern because there is a decay in the interest rates to be able to follow processes. Now, the thing that we need to begin to understand is that the part of discipline to get into the top cannot be overemphasized and cannot be overruled. Discipline is part and key of what we are doing. Meanwhile, in whatever you are doing, be it negative or positive, if there is no discipline that is attached to it, you are going to fail. So what I am trying to say, number one, is that you need to understand that there is a reinforcement to beat time. Why? Because time is the unit of life. And whatever you are doing today, and you do not attach time to it, there is no time factor. Any plan without a timeline is never going to be achieved. Eventually, when you achieve it, it will be out of stock, it will be out of the folk, it will be out of the need. The labor market might not need it. So before you select anything you are doing right now, child of God, you need to be able to merge it to time. There are key questions you must ask yourself. How do I beat time in what I am actually doing? How do I beat space in what I'm actually doing? How do I beat the issue of matter in what I'm actually doing? Time is the unit of destiny. And you need to know today. That's why you have several inventions. Several inventions. From the use of horse to the use of bicycles, to the use of tricycles, to the use of vehicles with four legs, with the use of ships, the cargo ships and ETCs, and then now you're getting into the aeroplanes, you're getting into the private jet. Man is often upgrading itself to beat time. So whatever you are doing, there must be a serious consideration on how you can beat time. Child of God, that thing you are doing, if you don't have a plan to be able to beat time, you are going to fail, or you are going to not last so long in that thing you are doing. You must find out, how do you beat people's expectation against time? Why do we the majority of the forces on the road, why do we give them money? Some of us, the papers are correct, they are complete, your driver's license is there. You just give them money so that you can just go because you don't want to be delayed. So that is to tell you that human beings are consciously conscious of their time. And whatever you can do to be able to help them control, manage, guide their time, they are going to be interested in what you are doing. When someone stops you and the person takes 2 hours to check on you just because he knows that you are in a haste in where you're going to, and you refuse probably to give money, I don't call it bribe, I will call it an encouragement for being on the road. You refuse to give them the encouragement that is needed for you to move. You can find out that you can lose a very big contract, you can lose a very big situation, a very big money or business organization or meeting because you wanted to play safe according to the laws of our parents. Again, our parents will tell us, make sure that you visit someone together. Go with your friend, make sure you go with your friend, don't go alone and all that. Today we have a very serious competition. The number of women on the planet Earth has increased as is measurable to men, and so you can take your friend to your friend's house and your friend becomes the friend that your friend has been looking for. What that actually means is that you will lose that relationship. So people are even scared to let their friends know that they're in a very serious relationship, especially when they are in a relationship with someone who is wisdomable enough or have a high standard of value and has what it takes to be a good man, because the competition they know is high. So they rather break the news to them when it is very sudden, when they're not prepared. But if you inform them, they could prepare on and plan on how to take your person away. The person that has prepared us for the journey ahead is living in the past, not on the future. And most of them, when we journey them to the future, they feel stranded. Our parents do not understand the decisions that we are taking today to be able to meet up with the competition and be able to adapt to the demand of our dispensation era on time. And they think they are still in the industrialized age, whereas we are in the medial age right now, when everything is at the speed of light. Can you just imagine recording something on your phone and you just click on it, and in less than 5 seconds the upload is complete, and anybody around the world that has access to that particular app has the ability to view it, irrespective of the nation or where the person is, so long as the person has access to the internet network. You could see that the speed of things are actually changing. And one of the things that the believers must begin to take into consideration is the issue of time. So when you know that you don't have time, you don't. Listen to me, viewer, you do not have time. That is everything on earth you have except time. Time is the unit of destiny. It waits for nobody. It is prepared to hang on for nobody. It keeps on ticking, and at the time is ticking, your advantages begin to reduce every day that is time ticking. So you need to find out ways for you to be able to beat time. The second thing which you must be able to beat is the issue of space. For example, you are seeing today that the online marketers are doing far more better, far more greater than the physical markets that we see today. You want to get something from the comfort of your house, just you're a click away from it, and then you make your order, they get it to your doorstep, you pay. You don't even need to step outside. That is nothing like entering a car, and it reduces the issues of accidents, reduces the issue of trafficking and all that. And you could see that people are responding to it. So you have to beat not just time, but in your quest to become relevant, in your quest to build up your dream, you must also have to build space. When you beat time, you also beat space. Today, you don't need a lot of shops. You just need a warehouse where you pack your stuff, and at the speed of the order, you get it done. There are some people who don't even have a single shop to themselves, but they are connected through partnership and affiliations with other shops, and they have the gadgets, and when the demands are made, they go to the place, pay for it, take it off, and they move. And you are beginning to see the widespread of the online marketing, the digital marketing, which is where a lot of money is today. Imagine you get on YouTube and you make some speeches, and if you're teaching or whatever the content is, if it's correct and it gets the crowd interested, then automatically you will see the crowd responding, and you're being paid just by standing in front of the camera and actually sometimes talking nonsense. You could see that people can actually stay in front of their camera and making no sense at all, and they are making sense out of nonsense. The sense they are making is actually the money out of it. And so you can now say, what is this nonsense that this person is talking? And people are interested in the nonsense that the person is actually saying. Can I now bring it to you that comedy is the art of saying nonsense and making people happy by saying nonsense? And you could see the influence and outsurge of the comedy sections in your internet sections, and there's a lot of things that are happening today. Now, what am I trying to say? You're not just fighting against time, you are also fighting against space. How can you be able to make use of a little space and yet you're reaching out to the global community? These are things you must begin to ask yourself. It doesn't matter what you find yourself doing, and there has not been adjustment in school curriculum. The fundamentals are still there, and there are no introductions of data analysis classes. There are no, in fact, from primary schools there should be, where they have their computer science education, get them into systems, let them know coding, Python analysis, and all that. There is a lot of things that needs to be added, and until those things are added, we have a lot of issues. Now you need to also understand that the adjustments are not being made in the schools, the adjustments are not being made in the homes. And so most often times we are prepared for the word that does not exist. We are pushed and encouraged with the wrong words, and we are set out with rules that do not exist anywhere. And that is why you see that the majority of people who have the high potential of being successful in life today are struggling of how to be successful, and they end up being a failure. And the third one you need to figure out how to beat is matter. Anything that has weight and occupies space. Imagine that time when you are having a phone, and your land phone, you have to carry. It's a very, very big gadget. Now the word smart has entered into the technological age, and it is beating and breaking a lot of things. People are getting out of space and out of market because of the word smart. What am I talking about? Can you be able to project something and make it small? Before, how our television is like a woman with a hunchback and also pregnant. The front is big, the back is big, and you could actually see that there is a lot of struggles, when some of the time you have to hit the televisions for them to come alive. But today you see flat screen, razor cuts, they are very slim and streamlined, and without any additional gadget, you can actually view your Netflix over there, your YouTubes over, just with a connection with the internet. You have everything that you need. Gradually computer is actually moving, because most of the iPads are now, and the phones can be able to do the same thing that the computers can be able to do. The CPU operational units are just used by few people. Now you begin to see that the word smart is trying to reduce size and become more effective. And so you must be able to look for a way that you have to reduce the size of your services, not making it strenuous. What do I mean? Accessibility has to be an intent. Now how easy it is for people to access you, and how they can be able to get a feedback from you at very fast rate. It's very, very key. One of the biggest airports in the world today, which is found in Dubai, the moment you land, from the point of landing to an exit, no matter how the number is from the airport, is 20 minutes. That's the speed of light. Everything, your check-up, everything, within 20 minutes you're out of the airport. If you have not been able to create out analysis and strategies on how to beat matter, you're not going to go far. Why? Because people don't want to carry gadgets today. Why is ATM flourishing? Just for one reason. Imagine you carrying 100 million with a backpack bag or with a bag. That means that's a lot of money. When you're carrying the 100 million in a gin tanks bag, it's going to be heavy. But today, just in your card is 100 million, and yet nobody knows you have a penny. You just slot in your card, and then you make your payment and you move. You are beginning to see that the movement of beating time, space, and matter is key to the next age and revolution that is coming, which is, of course, the media revolution. I strongly believe that there must be, these factors must be factored into different spheres of our thought patterns, our initiative, to be able to develop and begin to meet up with the jet age that is upon us. Now, just with the ATM card, just very flat, you can have 5 banks at the same place, rather than carrying your withdrawal slip or your deposit slip as big as it is, and then you have a lot of slips on your pocket. Today, just the smart ATM card does the magic for everything. You can use it for payment, you can use it for deposit, you can use it for transfer, etc. So you can even use it today to pay your bills. You don't need to go, to the place where they pay the utility bills. Now, just get on your phone and then get into your app, and you pay your utilities without being present at there. So you will know that the world is trying to beat the issue of space, so that people are not jam-packed, the traffic is reduced, and then the e-commerce is actually what is doing the magic. And until you begin to start thinking about your business in that form, there was a church in years back that said it's wrong for the believers to have televisions and all that. Today they are even on television and they are on satellite dish, and they are doing a lot of media programs, because they have understood that if they remain where they are, they're never going to advance. Advancement is for those who have the ability to think and react and act fast. If you don't have those abilities to be able to think, react, and act fast and adjust to the changing world, then you're going to suffer for the rest of your life, because life does not actually wait for someone. Remember, the tickings of the clocks is not hanging on for you, it's actually moving forward. So if you're able to understand that it's actually not waiting for you, it's actually moving forward, then you have to find out ways that you can be able to beat time, the ways you can be able to beat space, you can be able to beat matter. Now, that is, people are not, you get to church today, before you have 6 hour service, you have 7 hour service, people are just there. Right now, if your service is a bit more than 3 hours, people are getting exhausted. Of course, when you begin to understand these things, and it's going to help you to begin to be involved and evolve in what. That's why we have first service, second service, third service, fourth service, even some people fifth and sixth services for a Sunday, and at the end of the day, they don't exceed the hours of 1 p.m. So when you understand that the demands of man is changing, man is involved in the thinkings of man. Is now one of the things that the e-commerce has removed from us is the issue of patience and endurance. Now we are in the microwave age where everything should be done fast and at the speed of light. Now you pick up your phone, you want to speak to someone. Before, it would take 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months, 3 months for you to be able to write a letter, and then the mails are happening. You have to go and check the mails. Today, you just from your phone, you can be writing to someone at a very more than 80,000 kilometers away from you, and then you are writing to the person, and the person is responding to you immediately as they are speaking. The person is responding to you. Those things are not things that could be possible before, and man never thought it could be possible. Before you can be able to make transfers and all that. Today, you don't even need to go to the Western Union. The Western Union is in your app. You send the money, the conversion is done. And from the point of receiving the money to the time of making my purchase is a window of 5 minutes. And in less than 30 minutes, it's for an area that have strong online marketers. In less than 30 minutes, I am done. This is something that would have taken 3 months for me to write later, because I have to tell you what I need, and then you have to respond by sending back the information to me, then tell me when the money has entered, and then